Imagine a real estate deal so massive it would change the map of the world forever. That is exactly what happened when President Trump proposed buying Greenland. At first, it sounded like a joke or a meme. But behind the headlines lies a deadly serious geopolitical strategy that the media missed. This isn't just about ice. It is about dominance, defense, and a trillion-dollar treasure buried beneath the snow. To understand the prize, we must first look back at the history of this frozen frontier. In 985 AD, the exiled Viking Eric the Red landed on these shores. He named it Greenland, arguably history's first great marketing scam, to attract settlers to a land of ice. But long before the Vikings, Paleo-Inuit cultures had already mastered survival here. Today, the Inuit make up nearly 90% of the population of 57,000 people, holding a deep spiritual connection to the land. For centuries, Greenland has been a Danish territory. While they gained self-government in 2009, the Kingdom of Denmark still controls their foreign policy and defense. So, why is the United States obsessed with this remote island? In real estate, it is all about location, location, location. Greenland is the ultimate fortress of the North. If Russia were to launch a nuclear missile at the United States, it would likely fly right over the North Pole, and right over Greenland. That is why the US built Thule Air Base here in the 1950s. It is the US military's northernmost installation and the eyes and ears of American missile defense. Greenland also anchors the GIUK Gap, a narrow naval passage between Greenland, Iceland, and the UK. Controlling this gap means controlling who can enter or exit the Atlantic Ocean. But there is a new, urgent reason for the renewed interest: climate change. As the ice melts, a vault of hidden resources is opening up for the first time in history. Greenland holds some of the world's largest undeveloped deposits of rare earth minerals. We are talking about neodymium, dysprosium, and terbium. These are the critical materials that power your iPhone, your electric vehicle batteries, and even F-35 fighter jets. Here is the scary statistic. Right now, China controls roughly 70% of the global production and 90% of the processing of these minerals. Buying Greenland would instantly break China's monopoly and secure American technology independence for the next century. Add to that an estimated 17 billion barrels of unrecovered oil and gas, and you see why this isn't just an island, it's a bank vault. President Trump views this as a legacy move, similar to Thomas Jefferson's Louisiana Purchase in 1803. He looks at the annual subsidies Denmark pays to Greenland, roughly $600 million a year, and sees a distressed seller. His administration views the Arctic as the next great theater of conflict. By acquiring Greenland, the US would effectively checkmate Russian expansion and lock China out of the Arctic region for good. But here's the reality check. You cannot just buy a country in the modern world. The 57,000 people living there are citizens, not inventory to be sold. The logistical drawbacks are also a nightmare. Greenland has almost no roads connecting its towns. Travel is only possible by plane or boat. Building the necessary infrastructure to mine these resources would cost trillions of dollars. There is also a hidden environmental liability. Cleaning up abandoned Cold War military sites and radioactive waste buried under the ice is a bill no one wants to pay. And finally, dignity matters. The Prime Minister of Denmark called the idea absurd, and Greenland's premier stated clearly, "We are open for business, but we are not for sale." While a purchase remains unlikely, the US presence in Greenland is guaranteed to grow. As the ice recedes and the superpowers race north, Greenland is no longer just a quiet island of snow. It is the center of the next Cold War. Whoever holds the keys to Greenland may very well hold the keys to the future. Imagine a real estate deal so massive it would change the map of the world forever. That's exactly what happened when President Trump proposed buying Greenland. What sounded like a joke reveals a deadly serious geopolitical strategy. This isn't just about ice. It's about dominance, defense, and the trillion-dollar treasure beneath the snow. To understand this prize, we must explore Greenland's history, a saga of survival. In 985 AD, exiled Viking Eric the Red landed here. He named it Greenland, his clever marketing scheme to attract settlers. But long before the Vikings, Paleo-Inuit cultures thrived in this harsh land. Today, they form nearly 90% of the population, deeply connected to the land's spirit. Over centuries, Greenland became a Danish colony. Though it gained home rule in 1979 and self-government in 2009, Denmark controls its foreign policy and defense. So, why the US interest in this frozen rock? In real estate, it's all about location. Greenland is the ultimate fortress of the North. If Russia launched a missile at the United States, it would likely fly over the North Pole and right over Greenland. That is why the US built Thule Air Base here in the 1950s. It's the northernmost military base, crucial for missile defense. Greenland also anchors the GIUK Gap, a critical naval choke point, controlling transit into the Atlantic Ocean. But there's a new reason for renewed interest: climate change. As ice melts, a vault of resources opens. Greenland holds some of the world's largest deposits of rare earth minerals, like neodymium and dysprosium, the stuff powering your iPhone and EV batteries. Right now, China controls most of these minerals. Buying Greenland could break that monopoly and secure American tech independence. Additionally, there is an estimated 17 billion barrels of oil and gas waiting to be tapped. Trump views this as a legacy move. He wants to replicate what Thomas Jefferson did with the Louisiana Purchase. To him, Greenland is an undervalued asset, a distressed seller needing help. His administration sees the Arctic as the next great conflict arena. By acquiring Greenland, the US would checkmate Russian expansion and block China from the Arctic. But here's the reality check. You can't just buy a country. The 57,000 people living in Greenland are not inventory. The logistical challenges are overwhelming. With hardly any roads connecting towns, building infrastructure would cost trillions. There's also environmental liability. Cleaning up abandoned military sites and radioactive waste hidden under ice is a bill no one wants to pay. Moreover, dignity matters. The Prime Minister of Denmark called the idea absurd. Greenland's premier stated, "We are open for business, but we are not for sale." While a purchase remains unlikely, the US presence in Greenland will grow. As ice recedes and superpowers race north, Greenland is no longer just a quiet island of snow. The battle for the Arctic has begun. Whoever holds the keys to Greenland may well hold the keys to the future. Stay informed about this unfolding saga. Subscribe for more insightful content on global geopolitical dynamics.